Before continuing with this video, I want to apologize if there's any background noise that's picked up. I don't have a mic yet, but yeah, so let's just get this video started. Handsome, loyal, charming, a leader. That's what the Winx Club reboot wants you to believe about Sky. But after watching the first 13 episodes, I'm not buying that bait from Rainbow. Because throughout these episodes, Sky is repeatedly placed in situations that read as emotional cheating, and the narrative is treating it as if it's completely fine, even framing it as romantic. So let's go episode by episode to break it down, because the writer's intents weren't executed well. Also, there might be 3 episodes that I skip, but that's because there's either no scenes that is notable of Sky and Bloom interaction. So yeah, please keep that in mind. Right from the get-go, in episode 1, we're already showing a clear interest between Bloom and Sky's relationship. When they first meet, Bloom already takes an interest to him as she does a little gasp when she sees him, and Sky, when he sees her, he gives her a charming smirk. And on its own, that wouldn't be a problem. But the problem starts in episode 2 when Diaspro is introduced. Diaspro introduces herself to Bloom when Sky and Bloom are interacting, and she calls him her Prince Charming, and even goes as far to show public display of affection, to which Sky's face is very interesting, very telling. When you look at it, he looks uncomfortable, almost like he didn't want Bloom to know that, or at least Diaspro to say it out loud. Not sure why he would give a face like that, but he does. Meanwhile, Bloom looks dejected, and it isn't wrong for her to feel dejected, because obviously that's somebody she likes, and finding out that he's taken would make her feel bad, But the problem is how the show continues to encourage cheating, or to at least make a move. In episode 4, during the girls' flying practice, when they're making wishes with the dandelions, Stella jokes that she knows what Bloom wished for, which is a romantic date with Sky. And Bloom rejects it, but to be honest, her response kind of doesn't feel like a strong no. No! But continuing onwards with episode 4, later on, Bloom asks Sky if she can sit with him, to which he responds that he's saving the seat for Diaspro, with his response also saying, "You know how it is."
You know how it is.
His tone makes it sound like being considerate to his girlfriend is some kind of obligation and duty, and not the bare minimum, which is kind of normal for couples to sit with each other. And meanwhile, Bloom goes to sit with the rest of the girls, and she looks upset. And when Musa asks what's up, Tekna says that Bloom is uncomfortable with Sky's proximity to Diaspro, and the girls laugh it off.
Sky's proximity to his girlfriend Diaspro is causing Bloom distress.
The thing is, that's starting to become the pattern, that Bloom's feelings are treated as valid, while Diaspro, who's Sky's actual girlfriend, is treated as a joke. Once again, later in the episodes, when Bloom is doing the training, she literally falls into Sky's arm, which is cliche. But Diaspro notices, and is very clearly upset, She's I guess, growling and clenching her hands. But we never really follow up on that moment, and we only shown her discomfort once. And then the narrative continues like it didn't matter. Instead, we get another soft, flirty moment with Sky and Bloom. Look at that charming smile, I guess. And, reinforcing the idea that this is a romantic moment. And moments like that will become frequent, where Diaspro's relationship with Sky isn't treated as serious. Now, in episode 5 is very short on Bloom and Sky's interaction, but the dialogue at the end with the girls sticks out. Stella tells Bloom, "A prince's life is one duty or commitment after the next. Miss your chance and you'll never get another." And that line is kind of doing a lot, because it frames Sky's relationship with Diaspro as just another obligation, duty, and not something that deserves respect. And Bloom pushes back here, where she says that she doesn't know. Sky is Diaspro's boyfriend, and as long as that's the case, it wouldn't be right for her to make a move. And it's important because Bloom is at least aware of the boundary, but this doesn't matter, because after this episode, the rest of the episodes, they'll kind of portray Bloom as she wants to get with Sky, and that Diaspro is a temporary hurdle to the goal, which is being Sky's girlfriend. In episode 6, we finally get a conversation between Sky and Brandon. Brandon asks Sky if he's thinking about Diaspro, to which Sky straight up says no, he's thinking about Bloom. And that conversation alone to me is crazy, because in other words, Brandon's asking, "Hey, you think about your girlfriend?" And Sky says no, he's thinking about another girl. This shows that Sky is emotionally invested in Bloom while he's being with Diaspro. Meanwhile, the girls' conversation next to the campfire, they ask Bloom regarding Sky and her relationship so far, to which Bloom says nothing has been going on other than texting every night, and that no girlfriend and boyfriend talk because Sky and Diaspro made up. The problem is that we never seen them argue in the first place, so some scenes were clearly cut out or rewritten without adjusting the dialogue. But once again, Stella asks, get in the way how? As if there's no obvious answer that clearly Diaspro is dating Sky, and it would be wrong for her to make a move. Also, since fanfic writer Tekna is real, do you think she'll tag her fanfic as cheating and affair? In episode 7, in Dark Bloom, Bloom turns into Dark Bloom and says hurtful things to Sky. She becomes a high school bully, I guess. And she feels guilty and apologizes. But it does reinforce that Bloom emotionally prioritizes Sky, because we're only shown that she apologizes to Sky, or is at least making an attempt to apologize, but not to Wizkis, her professor, Diaspro, who she, I guess, akumatized with a cloud of fog or whatever that is, and the random students that she was bumping into. And I'm not saying that's wrong for her to apologize, because, it's obviously the best thing to do, but it just doesn't help because the way the writers have only been showing Bloom wanting Sky, and, Sky emotionally cheating on Diaspro, it just really does give off the vibes that she is only caring about him. And episode 8, in my opinion, starts to get a little more messy. It starts off with Bloom repeatedly texting Sky with apologies, and he doesn't respond, but he does respond to when Bloom asks if he can help set up Musa's concert, and even then he doesn't show up because turns out he's on a date with Diaspro for their every anniversary. And this is the moment that actually shows Diaspro as someone who genuinely cares about Sky and values, their relationship. Meanwhile, Bloom is once again left upset and disappointed. Later on in the episode, at Musa's concert when she's singing with Riven, which major win for me as a Riven and Musa relationship stan. But Bloom leaves. Well, actually, before she leaves, she is watching, and when she looks towards the crowd, she looks hurt because Diaspro shows off her ring, to which she assumes that Sky gave it to her. But that's the moment Bloom finally tells herself that she needs to stop. Sky and Diaspro are together, but at the end it doesn't even matter, because at the end of the episode, Bloom asks Sky if the ring means anything to him, to which he says it doesn't. And the girls treat this as this is some dramatic revelation instead of, a red massive flag. In episode 10, to be honest, I was going to skip and not add this, but I felt like it was kind of a little weird, so I ended up adding it because of one scene that stood out to me, and that scene being when Sky introduces Bloom to Saladin. And to me, this scene stood out to me because it felt kind of intimate, given the context of everything that has already happened. That Sky is introducing Bloom to Saladin, this figure that's well respected, which could mean nothing, but to me, it's not nothing. I think it's supposed to be like when a boyfriend is introducing their girlfriend to their family. The reason why I feel like this is because in episode 11, the conversation between Sky and Saladin kind of give a father and son, or at least like a teacher and apprentice dynamic thing. Okay, we're almost done with the recaps, but in episode 11 is where things get confusing. After Saladin is sent to the Omega Dimension and Red Fountain is destroyed, Diaspro confronts Sky. She asks him why he hasn't called her, which, to be honest, I feel like it was out of character so far of what we've seen with her, because they kind of wrote her as like this airhead blonde, and this scene was kind of out of character for her and for me to see. But she's visibly upset and explains that people keep asking how Sky is and she doesn't even know how to answer. Diaspro says that at least Sky can now move in with her. Sky response is shocking to me. He gets upset and says that he'll never move in with her, not now, not ever. And Diaspro is clearly stunned. Meanwhile, Bloom is there and she gives, I believe, a look to Flora, and it kind of gives like the vibes as like, oop. The problem is that the scene is unclear to me. Did Sky just break up with Diaspro, or is he rejecting a future with her while staying in a relationship? It's still unclear to me. Okay, now at the last episode. At episode 13, after the girls return from the Fortress of Light, Sky and Bloom have a quiet conversation. Sky tells Bloom that he'll help her and be there for her. And, it sounds supporting, but after every episode that we have seen and the context, it makes it feel romantic because it mirrors, the original Winx Club season 1 where Bloom and Sky are already together and share a hand-touching moment. And the reboot is obviously using scenes or, episodes that parallel to the original. And it brings me to the issue that if the show wants to recreate the romance of the original series, then why are they refusing to clearly end the Sky and Diaspro relationship first? In the behind the scenes video, the show Bible writer guy, I guess, he says how Bloom is maintaining distance from Sky to be respectful of Diaspro and Sky's relationship. But their intent was not clearly executed well because to me it's, and I'm pretty sure to everyone, is giving emotional cheating while Bloom is trying to continue to basically making her moves on Sky. Maybe not directly making moves, but she's clearly wanting to be in a relationship with him. This isn't slow burn romance. This is an emotional cheating story that's being normalized and boundaries are being blurred and accountability is avoided, all while the audience is expected to root for it. And that's why, whether intentionally or not, the Winx Club reboot sends the message that cheating is okay, as long as the narrative wants it to be romantic. All this evidence, it becomes clear that Sky is not the Prince Charming that the show is trying to sell us. Before the show came out, I was really hoping that the reboot will at least fix Bloom and Sky's relationship from the first season, where he was hiding that he was, in fact, the prince, and that he was dating Diaspro. But instead, it kind of made it worse. So I'm sorry, Rainbow, but I'm not falling for that Prince Charming bait. And you know what? Sky isn't even a good leader. The reboot also insists on presenting Sky as a great leader when his actions are saying otherwise. In episode 1, during the changeling situation, Sky hesitates in making a move. Actually, he doesn't even hesitate. Riven points out that they're wasting time and need to move, to which Sky responds to easy, Riven, which is crazy to me. Like, hello, there's wild beasts on the loose. It's only after Timmy says that they need to hurry because the changelings will be approaching Elfia soon, that's when Sky finally takes action. To me, that's not leadership, that's reacting late. And then in episode 11, Red Fountain is literally under attack, and once again, Sky doesn't take charge until Riven says that they need to move or there will be no one or nothing left to save. Only then does Sky step up. Twice now, Sky acts only after someone pushes him to. So why is he framed as a natural leader? Obviously, it's because Rainbow's trying to sell him as the perfect prince. And to be the perfect prince, obviously he needs to be given this leader role. Otherwise, that would make him imperfect. And to me, creating a perfect prince character is a little complicated, but not impossible. But in Winx Club case, they don't really give Sky a chance other than being a perfect prince, or at least how they want to portray him as one. And I think if they did want to portray him as a perfect leader, then in episode 11, they could have made him respond to Riven as saying, wait, no, we can't do this on our own because we don't have this manpower to do it. So we need to hold back or at least be on defense. But no, instead he says we can at least keep it distracted, which to me makes it feel that he only was able to come up with a plan after Riven literally says that they have to fight back. So it's twice that Riven kind of showing leadership. And it reminds me of the original run of Winx Club where Riven obviously wants to be leader, but Sky's given the leader role. But that's because Riven is shown to be this character who acts brash and, doesn't really think much of the actions till later on. But in this reboot, Sky is the one who doesn't really even think much of, a plan. But Riven is the one coming up with these ideas, at least so far shown twice. Or thrice. In Cousin Musa's concert. What the heck? Now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm coming to the realization that Riven was able to take on the tricks in one go. Actually, he knocked out 2 of them, and with only Icy being the one who remained standing. Oh, Riven, your crown is still glued on your head. But on a serious note, this is not a glaze to Riven. This is just something I personally point out because I think Sky is also kind of lacking in the leadership department and even in the handsome department. But to tie it all back, the reboot messed up with Sky. Like, they made him an emotional cheater. He's not even a good leader. He's not even handsome or charming. He's none of those things. So I'm hoping that maybe in the next 13 episodes that are supposed to release apparently in the fall will somehow improve on this. But I do want to mention that in the storyboard that was leaked, which I won't be showing because I don't want to get copyrighted or get this video taken down because it is internal use only. But it is out there somewhere. I won't point out the account, but just know that it's easy to find. I think it's online. Then in the storyboard for the episode that's supposed to be musical concert, that originally there was a scene shown in the storyboard that when Bloom is singing, because yeah, as you know, in episode 8, Bloom becomes the lead singer again. In the storyboard, Sky is jamming to Bloom singing, and Diaspro too. But then she notices how Sky is looking towards Bloom, and she's clearly visibly annoyed, and then hugs Sky, and what I guess to be an attempt of trying to make Bloom jealous. And this is notable because this means that Diaspro was originally supposed to, I guess, maintain her snobby personality, but I don't know what made the change to make her this airhead blonde. And I think that was like terrible change, because if she has kept her snobby, arrogant personality, you could have at least understand that maybe the reason why Sky doesn't really like her anymore is because of her actions and personality being snobby and arrogant. It still doesn't excuse cheating or emotional cheating or whatever, but it would serve at least as an explanation to why he isn't interested in Diaspro anymore. But yeah, that's all I have for now. I do plan on making more videos of the reboot because there's a lot to be said about it in terms of their alleged AI use, their fashion, I guess you can say, in the animation. But personally, I don't know, I just kind of found the reboot kind of entertaining to watch, even if it's kind of like not the best quality like they were telling us. So, but I think that's it overall for this episode. For this first video on my channel. Yeah, I think that's it I have. Sorry for the mic and if the voice kind of sounds like going in and out. I'm not sure why it does that sometimes, but it does. So if you're interested in those videos that I'm planning to do, then please like and subscribe. It would help out. I'm also an artist, so I do plan on making videos of art that will either be breaking down the Winx Club art style, serve as a tutorial to help people who want to draw them. Winx Club isn't my only interest. I love Monster High, Barbie, like things I grew up with, nostalgic. I'm pretty sure many people also grew up with them. So yeah, this YouTube channel will serve as kind of like a commentary, but also art and multiple medias because I love doing mini subs. And yeah, for a quick introduction, I'm Jelly, short for Jellington. I'm a college student. If you're interested in following any other links or maybe getting commission, everything's under my description, bio, whatever. Yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video for it being my first. I know it's not the best quality, like I said, but please do comment down like your opinions or what you want. What do you want to see in the future of the Winx Club reboot? How you wish they dealt with this, Sky and Bloom relationship along with Diaspro. That is all for me now. Hopefully in the next video I have a better mic quality. Okay, bye.